My word, it has taken me a long, long time. Snowberries. To get here. I mean, this is, man, this is episode 90. Can you believe it? Episode 90. And I'm only now walking into Windhelm. This has taken me an uncommonly long time. I've actually been avoiding this place because it's like, the minute that you walk into a town, there's always a myriad of side quests. And, you know, getting up to, at this point, if you've been watching the whole series, you know, you probably know at this point that I really like side quests, so...
You come here where you're not wanted. You eat our food, you pollute our city with your stink, and you refuse to help the Stormcloaks.
But we haven't taken a side because it's not our fight.
Hey, maybe the reason these Greyskins don't help in the war is because they're Imperial spies.
Imperial spies? You can't be serious.
Maybe we'll pay you a visit tonight, little spy. We got ways of finding out what you really are.
Oh. Do you hate the Dark Elves? Are you here to bully us and tell us to leave?
No. I don't even know what that was all about. I've only just arrived in Windhelm. I've never been here before.
You've come to the wrong city, then. Windhelm's a haven of prejudice and narrow thinking, unworthy of one such as you.
Well, those Nords certainly were giving you a lot of trouble, to say the least. What was that all about?
Nothing new there. Most of the Nords living in Windhelm don't care much for us, but Rolf is the worst by far. He likes to get drunk and walk around the Grey Quarter yelling insults at us in the small hours of the morning. Oh, a real charmer, that one.
What about the accusations of being a spy? Where do they even get that idea from?
Some of these Nords will come up with any excuse to despise us. And it isn't just the Dark Elves they hate. They make a target of the Argonians as well. In fact, just about anyone who isn't a Nord is fair game for their bullying.
Well, I wish you the best. And at least I know now that this is a city rife with prejudice. I'll be on my way.
Until next time.
Jeez. God, snowberries everywhere. Well, since I'm here, I think I'm gonna take care of a little side quest at the alchemist shop that I've been needing to do for ages now. Everybody who... the person who gave me the quest is probably dead at this point since they needed medicine.
I'll be fine.
Master, you're far too old for this sort of journey. We don't know what's inside.
I can... just...
You see, you're not well. Have a seat, and I'll fetch you some tonic.
Oh, if there was a tonic that could help me, I would have found it by now.
Jeez. Excuse me.
Alchemy is simple. Unless, of course, you are simple. Then, I can't help you.
No need to worry about that. I didn't come for lessons. I am a bit curious, though. What were you two just arguing about right now? Looking to go out on a quest or an expedition?
Just a man's life work is all. I finally derived the location of the White Phial, but this doting busybody won't let me get it.
Well, I'm battle-hardened and well-traveled, and for hire. If it's really worth so much to you, I could retrieve it for you.
You would do that? It's good to know there are some people out there who are willing to help an old man. It's buried with its maker, Corral Mill, in a long-forsaken cave to the west of here. Corral Mill was a crafty one, even in death. You would need the skills of a master alchemist to reach its resting place. Luckily for you, I've already made the mixture. Here, take it. Please, don't dally. I've wasted enough time arguing with my useless assistant here.
I'll make haste. But before I go looking for it, what is the White Phial? I've never heard of it before.
The legendary bottle, forged in the days when Skyrim was just starting its turn to ice. A small container made of the magically infused snow that first fell on the throat of the world. It is said that the phial will replenish whatever fluid is placed inside of it. For an alchemist like myself, it is the most pure expression of my art. To create from nothingness is poetry.
Well, I can certainly see the value in it. What made you seek this file out so readily?
I've spent my entire life searching for it. It brought me all the way to these frozen reaches from the warm embrace of Somerset Isle. Entire years spent in libraries, seeking out tiny villages with local legends that contain but a whisper of a hint of the file. I even named my shop after it, hoping that it might attract anyone who had heard of it. And now it's within my grasp. But the eight, it seems, have chosen me for their amusement. For in my current condition, I'll never be able to lay my hands on it.
I see. That being the case, I'll get right to it.
Why are you still standing around here? Go get me the file, you fool!
All right, jeez.
My master can be a bit
oh.
short-tempered, but I've learned so much from him. I'll never have Master Nurelian's skill with potions.
If he's Nurelian, that would make you Quintus. Given his temperament, what makes you want to apprentice to him?
Are you kidding? I came all the way from Cyrodiil just to work with him. He's not the best teacher, but just watching him, I've learned so much.
And what of this white file that he wants me to find? Do you think this thing actually exists, or that it's where he's sending me?
It doesn't matter what I believe. Nurelian does. And it might be the only thing keeping him alive right now.
He doesn't seem well at all, that is true. Oh, speaking of which, the reason why I came here is a dark elf from Darkwater Crossing, Sonus. He sent me to put in an order for some medicines to combat the ore dust that they're dealing with in the mine. It's been quite a while since he gave me this, order, but, well, here. Hopefully they're still faring well.
Oh dear. Darkwater Crossing needs medicines for its miners. I'll see about getting this order filled right away. Here, a few septims for you.
Thank you very much, Quintus. Now, I'll be on my way. I don't think that Nurelian wants to wait around any longer for that file he's looking for.
Until next time.
May the eight guide you to the file.
Indeed.
I'm sorry to always be so hard on you, boy. I just worry I don't have much time left.
I know, Master. Don't say such things. There is always time.
Don't be so sure. Now, have you finished grinding the dried snow berries?
No. Not yet. I'm sorry, I was reading up on the effects of distillation.
What? You've been lollygagging in idle reading?
No, I was trying to...
Out of my sight!
Huh. The relationship between those two. Jeez. My word. Okay, I don't know how much longer this this dungeon is gonna be. Also, I don't even know why I'm sneaking through this place. For some reason, I've got this urge to just sneak for a change. Probably because I've spent so much of this particular series hammering things right in the face, you know, just like you with my two-handed skill, which, you know, I don't know, it feels like a little bit of a Forsaken Crypt. Oh, okay. It feels a little bit wrong, I guess you could say, to spend all that time maxing out one skill only to abandon it. But at the same time, like, That's something that I've never legitimately done. I've leveled up. I'll have to take some time to figure out what type of a perk I want to take. I mean, at the moment, I don't really know what I want, and I'm not gonna spend time waffling around through the perk trees trying to figure it out. I like to look at that stuff on a wiki, actually. Really specifically, I like to look at stuff like that on a wiki. God, is this guy ever gonna see me? He really took his time. My word. Come on, down we go. One thing that I do have to try to figure out that's going to be a long-haul difficult thing. I mean, I will figure it out. I don't really need a lot of advice for it. But trying to find the blood of an Altmer for, what's his name? For some, like, I want to say Sindarian for some reason, but Sindarian was an Altmer. I'm thinking of Septimus. There we go. Like, that's why both names started with an S. There. Yeah, so trying to find the blood of an Altmer for, Septimus out in the ice fields. Everything. All that wonderful stuff. Actually, talking about Altmer, that reminds me, Magicka in Skyrim and just the Elder Scrolls in general. So, there's some back and forth about whether or not, you know, a game is oversimplifying, you know, mechanics and everything. I think that in the case of the Elder Scrolls, they managed to pull it out reasonably well. I know that the more I critique the game, the more people get upset, but for the sake of it, you know, I gotta say this out front. So, hello, you gonna die? Well, you'll die soon enough. Oh my god, I got him in the knee. I used to be a Draugr like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee. And then an axe to the frickin' face. 35 different times. Jeez. So anyways, the way, one of the things that the Elder Scrolls used to have was, you know, it used to have 10 stats, I think. It was like strength and luck and intelligence and willpower and, you know, I don't remember the specific stat sheet. But those were overall stats that govern your character, and then you had your skills, which also had, you know, levels 0 to 100. So, you, the thing is, like, on the back end, like, the big stats that you could only level up whenever you leveled up, as it were, they were kind of like passive effects, you know? So, like, you had these stats on it, like, these core stats on a character sheet, and the number one stat that was really important was endurance. Because endurance, like, if... I don't remember what the calculation was, but it was like, oh, you have 76 endurance, so now that you level up, you get 76 more health added to your maximum pool of health. Now, there was some sort of a calculation, so it was less than a direct interpretation of the number, but you get the idea, right? So it's like, you level up, you have, and the more endurance you have determines how much your maximum health was pushed up. So, that's a doubling down system. That's what I like to call it, right? So, the problem, overall, like the real problem, in my opinion, was the fact that that was the only thing that doubled down in Oblivion. Now, depending on how people look at RPGs, that is either a good thing to have a system like that in place, or it is a bad thing. In the case of Skyrim here, I think you have the same amount of health at level 56 if you are a mage, as if you are level 56 as a warrior, because you get the same health increase all the time, because there's no number governing how much your health goes up. Well, you get the idea, right? You get the idea. It's like, you get to choose whenever you level up. So if you choose increase health 36 different times as you level up, you're gonna have the same amount of health no matter if you've teched into stealth or archery or two-handed or magic. You know, it doesn't matter what you teched into, you chose health every single time. Personally, I like the idea of, you know, having a stat sheet. And it's like, yeah, so you dumped your numbers into this, so that's going to, like, you are going to get bigger returns later down the line because you just keep stacking that up as time goes on. I really like that system where it's like, oh, I better think ahead about this. And it really lends itself to multiple playthroughs. I know that not everybody's a really big fan of, like, Skyrim, or what the Elder Scrolls, or Fallout 4 for that matter, does with the whole system. Like, yeah, we've got, this looks awfully, ooh, Okay. Yep, that was that was a trap. Right, I don't think I've ever seen a trap like that before. So, some people aren't a big fan of that whole idea, aren't a big fan of the whole idea of, like, all of the random dungeons across the map. Personally, I love that. In fact, usually whenever I, in the multiple characters that I've played in Skyrim here, and the multiple characters that I've played in, Oblivion, for that matter, as well as Morrowind, I tend to not touch many of the quests. I tend to just be like, no, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go through all those random dungeons because it's fun. So, I know that not everybody is a big fan of that, but that's a big thing to me. So I can just, like, I don't have to feel like I'm being that one particular hero. I can completely ignore the main quest and there's still crap loads for me to do. It's what sets the difference between, you know, a game like Skyrim or Oblivion and, say, Mass Effect or something, you know. So, surprisingly, I haven't played a lot of RPGs, never played Dragon Age, I tried to play The Witcher, like the original Witcher, didn't really get into it, God, I need to play more RPGs. Hello, friend. Shuffled away from me. Anyways, I like the idea of the doubling down system, and personally, what I would like to see, I don't think I'm going to see it, in the Elder Scrolls game. I think that Bethesda more or less they are very, very certain of themselves on the front of, like, no, we want to take numbers out of our games because that makes it more fun for more people, and that's, you know, their attitude about it. But in my case, I like the character sheets and, like, the crunching numbers and the min-maxing and everything. So something that I would really like to see in an RPG game is basically there are 3 different stats. And there's no rules about how you have to put your numbers into these stats, but it's the idea that, like, okay, so if you put numbers into this stat, you know, it, like, increases your stamina, which is directly proportionate to how much damage you do whenever you get a sneak attack or, you know, your bow strength, you know. Meanwhile, you know, if you put points into something like endurance, you know, you get more health, and that's the warrior direction. But if you put points into, like, willpower or intelligence or something, you know, that's, like, you just basically that doubling down effect where it's like every single, like, if you start with a big number, if you tech yourself to have a large number and you focus on increasing that number as you level up, you know, you have a rolling effect where it's like, well, you know, starting out with, you know, plus 71 points every single time you level up is going to make a big difference than if you just gain 30 points every single time you level up for, like, your mana pool or whatever. But, you know, that's just my look at, that's an idea. That's an idea that I've had. You know, I'm not a game developer. I'm probably never going to make a game in my life. I cannot design for crap. Well, not design. I can't code. I don't know anything about design. Pretty much anybody could design. It's like, I don't have the technical skills to make a game. And trust me, I've tried. I've tried. Even though it's defunct these days. Good old Flash. Anybody remember Flash? You young kids probably don't remember anything like Newgrounds. God, I feel old. No. Some of you probably remember. But Flash, when I was in high school, I tried to learn how to code in ActionScript, which is the coding that was available in at the time it was Macromedia. God, they were swallowed up by Adobe. But that's neither here nor there. I tried to learn how to code. I couldn't do it. I was awful. Oh, hey, I think that this is the boss chamber. This should be... Oh, isn't this wonderful? We got a dragon priest. Alright. We can do this. Ah, crap, that's the wrong button. Wrong spell. Oh, hey, Corral Mill. This is the guy, this is the master alchemist that, Norellian was talking about. And for an alchemist, God, why are you conjuring stuff up? You're supposed to be an alchemist. Okay, got rid of the summon. Alright, so since he's a dragon priest, he should have a grand soul. Sorry, Corral Mill, but you did incredible things in life, but in death here, you gotta serve me. You're gonna fill my, fill one of my grand soul checks. There we go. Well, he wasn't too much of a challenge. I don't think that this is... Yeah, this is not one of the dragon priests. It is, he spawned as a dragon priest. Some people mix that up. I've noticed in the comments in previous episodes whenever I run into a Dragon Priest. Dragon Priests can randomly spawn in place of Draugr Deathlords. It is possible, but they'll only pop up as the ultimate boss of a dungeon. So, what do we have here? Killed, marked for death. Nice. Okay, so that's, could have had better loot in that chest. I was expecting more. Alright, so this looks promising. If I'm at the end of the dungeon, then there has to be... Ancient bowl. There we go. Okay, what's hidden behind door number 1? Aha, that must be the white phial up there. Oh man, and a crap load of alchemy material. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the bowls as well. It'll be easier than, like, trying to duck and dive and weave. Oh man, Game at Dinner. That is a very good book. Oh jeez, I read that one. I read that one aloud in my Stories from Skyrim series, or was it Stories from Skyrim? Tales from Tamriel? I don't remember. I think I did the whole thing with alliteration. Alliteration being, you know, whenever you say multiple words in a row where they all start with the same letter, you know, so it's like Tales, Stories from Skyrim, SS, you know. Tales from Tamriel, TT, you know. TTs. There we go, the white phial. Looks cracked. Oh boy, that's not good. Norellian isn't going to be too peachy about that. Well, anyhow, I'm done here. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Hopefully there will be 1 or 2 extra... Yeah, this must be the way out. There must be, hopefully there will be 1 or 2 extra bits of, loot before I leave. They do that sometimes. Sort of an extra chest. Nope, doesn't look like it. Man. I tell you what. It may be a little bit strange to have the dungeon loop back on itself like this every single time, but geez, it certainly is convenient. At least I don't have to backtrack through the dungeon. That was a bummer in Morrowind. Anyways, I got sidetracked. Let's return to Windhelm and well, talk to Ulfric.